Hi guys, today's videos is going to be a little bit different. I decided to give myself a haircut, so I'm making a little tutorial so you guys can follow along. To begin here, we start with the 1.5 guard, and this is all the way open. I'm using the Onyx JRLs, and what I want to do, clear off the bulk. That's the first thing to do in every haircut. Well, that's at least what I do in every step. As you can see, I was flicking out towards the curls at the top of my hair. And then the next step here, what we're doing is using the trimmers. I'm using the Low Pro FX, and I'm basically setting my first skyline. And I usually like to measure it with the top of my ear. Then I grab the shaver and I flick out the blonde line. I don't want to put too much pressure, because if I put a lot of pressure, then it's going to create a hard line, and then it's going to be a struggle to get it out afterwards. And then with the lever all the way open, we go about half an inch. I make my first skyline. And remember, I always want to flick out, and don't be scared to really get in there. I feel like, well, most of the times people get scared to not go up too high, but realistically it's only going to hold you back, because if you start your fades too low, then that contrast effect between light and dark is not going to really show, and then therefore your fade is not going to look as good. Whereas if you go a little bit higher than you think, it's gonna turn out a little bit better. And that's what I've kind of learned over the years, is just like, if you go a little bit high, it's gonna turn out better. Now we move on to our second guideline. Our second guideline, I do it with the lever open with the one guard. And what I want to do here is also, I want to keep the sizes and the length of my guidelines about the same, because if I have my first guideline a little bit smaller than my second one, it's going to be not proportional, and to me it's a little bit harder. So as long as you make your guidelines about the same size, you guys should be good. And now I'm just going back to the 1.5, and I'm just basically setting kind of like another guideline, but not really. I just really want to blend my fade with the top. That's going to be the most important part of the fade, just always blending the bottom to the top. The back side of the taper is probably one of the hardest parts to do about this self haircut, just because you obviously can't really see what you're doing unless you have like a three-sided mirror, or like what I did here is I had a mirror mounted on my ring light that I would look through it into the back. And what I really want to focus on here is, like I said, I kind of want to push my line a little bit higher. That's why you see me go up a little bit. And then I'm just trying to always have a fresh start. For every haircut, you want to have a clean slate. If you have a clean slate, it's easier to see the lines. And if you're not too experienced, seeing lines can be hard, because I've been there before. After we're done with the shaver, we move on to the lever open, all the way open, and we set our first guideline. We're going about half an inch. If you really don't know what half an inch is, I suggest you grab a ruler and actually look at what half an inch is. I've seen most barbers post on social media, or just I've talked to other barbers in general, and whatever they think half an inch is, it's really not. Half an inch is a lot bigger than what you think it is. You have to have a certain system. I have a system where I make the guideline and then I blend it. I started my guideline with the lever open. My system, how I blend it, is I drop down to lever halfway, and then I drop down to lever close. Now the one guard. The one guard is probably one of the most important guards about any fade, just because the length it's at, it's like perfect to start blending. Right here, as you can see, is I'm really flicking out about another half an inch. And the reason why I say that you want to have a ruler to actually know what half an inch is because the more space you have to work with, the cleaner the blend will be. The half guard, 0.5 guard. This is my favorite guard just because it brings the blend together as well. I'm going not all the way up, but 75% of the guideline from the number one, just to make sure I'm really getting there. If you don't go all the way up, or 75%, like I said, your blend is going to look a little bit choppy, and that's what you really want to avoid. You want a blend that's very smooth and it's very blurry, and the way you achieve this is by making sure all your guidelines are being blended. So you want to make sure you go 75% up from the guideline. Once the first two guidelines are set, now as you can see, I'm combing my hair down just to make sure I'm bringing all the bulk that I need off. Not really digging in to my hair. I'm really just starting where my fade is, and then I'm kind of gliding up at an angle. The angle is perfectly to the point where it's not creating a hard line, but it's also just blending my fade to the top of my hair. And also at the same time, it's removing the bulk. So as you can see here, I start and I kind of angle it a little bit, and then I just slowly start connecting both things. After you clean yourself, just make sure you go back in and kind of detail a little bit. I noticed that on my left side, after I was connecting my fade to the top, there was like a little harsh line. So I grabbed my 1.5 again and I kind of just digged a little bit. That's when you kind of want to dig, is whenever you kind of detailing, you want to dig in those little spots that it's still showing like a harsh line. Since we debulked the back, it's only right if we debulk around the ear. A lot of people don't do this, surprisingly, but I love debulking the side of the clients or on me as well, just because whenever it gets to the point where I'm lining myself up behind the ear and connecting my side fade to the back, if you have a smaller and less hair to work with, the line's going to be a lot more sharper. Now when it comes to lining myself up, I have pretty good C cup, so I'm just barely touching it. I'm not really putting a lot of pressure, just kind of cleaning it up. Some people, you're gonna have to put a little bit more pressure and kind of push them back a little bit, but as you can see here, my C cups are pretty good, so I'm barely just scraping around. And now I'm lining my back. This is my favorite part of the haircuts, when I connect the back taper with the side taper. I'm not putting too much pressure just because my trimmer is already sharp enough. It is zero gapped. You always want to clean out the extra hair on the side, on the ear, on the neck. You don't want to be that barber that cuts hair and then leaves your clients with neck hair. That's one of my pet peeves, is always make sure around the ear, around the neck is always cleaned up. And these are the final results. I didn't record both sides just because the same steps that I did on one side, you can just do them to the left side. I hope you guys found this video useful for yourself if you're trying to cut your hair. It can be a little bit difficult to start with, but the more practice you have in anything, you'll just get better eventually. If you're a barber and you're watching this, hopefully you took a little bit of my system and kind of apply it to yours, or if you have something else that you think works better, please put it down in the comment section. I'm willing to always grow and learn. So thank you guys for watching this video. Merry Christmas.